Hello students, I'm your teacher Francis Polsa, and now we are going to look forward for second part of the Vedic period. Okay, I have already told you in the first part the introduction, and I have spoken that Vedas, epics, iron artifacts, and poetry were the important source for us to know about the Aryans. So, even in the Harappan civilization, when we are studying, I told you that there is no proper sources, written sources, and so on. Even in of the Vedic period, also we don't have a written sources. We have written sources about Vedas, mantras, and all that, but they are not direct secular sources or history sources. Only few things, geographical things, social things, economical things are mentioned in the Vedas. And now we are going to study everything in detail, what we discussed in the introduction. So students, as I told you, scholars and historians refer to the period when Aryans first settled is early Vedic period, that is from 1500 to 1000 BC. Between 1000 BC to 500 BC, when iron had come to be used. Okay, early Vedic period, and then 100 BC to 500 BC, the Iron Age or the later Vedic age. It is believed that Aryan followed the course of rivers. They settled around mostly rivers. Even the Harappan civilization have been found at the banks of rivers. And I told you also that most of the civilizations have been found near the banks of the rivers. So these people also settled around the Gangetic Valley. They cleared the forest. So the culture of the period is referred to as the Vedic culture because it was based on the Vedic text. So, what literary sources we have from where we come to know indirectly the knowledge? Around 1500 to 1000 BC, hymns of Vedas were written. The Vedas were composed. And later Vedic text, 100 to 500 BC, belongs to the remaining Vedas and their branches, Upanishads and so on. Okay. Earlier, in the first early Vedic period, hymns and the things were told verbally from generation to generation. Then they settled at one place and began to write the Vedas in the later Vedic. So what it tells? The Vedas, the social, economical, political, religious aspects of life of the people came to be reflected in the Vedic literature. So therefore, Veda has been derived from the Sanskrit word Vidya, which means knowledge. So it's a storehouse of knowledge. Further, Vedic literature divided into two parts, Shruti and Smriti. Okay? Because Shruti was revealed to the sages by God, it was believed. Shruti is revealed by revelation. God has revealed certain things to the rishis and munis, those who used to meditate. And it was imparted orally, generation to generation. On the other hand, Smriti literature was composed by the rishis. So we have four Vedas, Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvaveda. So what we are going to study in this Vedas? The hymns are dedicated by the sages. Purpose of Vedas, okay, and mandalas. And it is also told the first testament of mankind. It's very important thing. First testament of mankind. And the hymns are dedicated by the sages to God. Okay? And Rigvedic hymns are authentic sources of knowledge of the life of people of the time. It also contains the famous, even the children know, Gayatri Mantra. It contains Gayatri Mantra. Okay, then we have Samaveda. It is also known as a sweet song or melody. The hymns were meant to be sung at the time of sacrifice by the priest. Then we have Yajurveda. It deals with hymns recited during the performance of yajanas, social and religious life of the Aryans. It shows. Then Atharvaveda. Hymns contained in the Veda deal with magic and charm. Okay? So it also gives Gyan, knowledge, karma, action, upasana, and so on. Then we have different sources, Brahmanas, Aryankas, Upanishad, they are philosophical commentaries on the Vedas. So we will not go deeply into this. Our concern is mainly the Vedas, 4 Vedas. Okay? And you can have a short answers of Upanishad, Veda, and so on. You can expect. Then allied Vedic literature. Along with Vedas, we have allied Vedic literature, Vedanga, Sutras, Upavedas, Darshanas, and Dharmashastras. These are the rich philosophical work of the Rishi Munis of that time. Now we are concerned with the epics. So, earlier I have spoken in introduction about the epic, the meaning of epic. It's a long poem. Usually we find a small poem of 14 lines or of 1 page or 2 pages or 5 stanzas. But this is a full book written of poem. Okay, so in English we have a famous long poem epics, The Rape of the Lock, Paradise Lost. These are the long epic in English. In Sanskrit also we have 2 epics which gives us rich knowledge about the Aryans. That is Ramayana and Mahabharata. I am not going to tell you anything in detail about Ramayana. You know that Ramayana revolves around Rama and the abduction of his wife Sita by the demon king Ravana. So, you are watching every day the Ramayana. Okay, so I hope you must be knowing about Ramayana and Mahabharata, which took place between the Pandavas and Kauravas. So now we will be mainly, you please, if you don't know about Ramayana and Mahabharata, ask your parents or watch TV. Serial comes every day. So then from Mahabharata we get Bhagavad Gita, which forms a part of the Mahabharata, is one of the most popular religious texts considered sacred by many people in India. Now what is concern for us? What is importance for us? The self-might, what it gives? The self-might conflict with the duty. And whenever there is such a conflict, Bhagavad Gita gives the answer. Sometimes what happens? When we work, when we are doing something, when we are fighting something for the truth, all of a sudden we stop and our conscience may not allow us. But sometimes we get sad. So there is a Bhagavad Gita which gives you all your answer of all your worries and sorrows. That is the secret of the undying popularity of this religious text. It teaches that the soul is immortal. Soul does not die. The body dies, but soul does not. No. What are the importance of the epics in our life? What they teach us? They provide information on various Aryan kingdoms and their armies and the weapons they used. The epics are considered as the finest literary works of the ancient period, acclaimed for their literary and philosophical value. Literary and philosophical value. They reveal the high ideals of family life. They teach us high ideals of family life of the Aryans. You know the story of Ram and Lakshman. They obeyed their parents and happily went 14 years in the forest. They left everything. They left their kingdom and obeyed their father. Then it also gives great heroes depicted in the epics and are the embodiment of high moral principles. It and Bhagavad Gita elaborates the karma theory, philosophy, and immortality of the soul. Now we have another sources, archaeological sources. First we studied about Vedas and so many other books, and then two epics and Bhagavad Gita, and now we have iron artifacts. In India, the Iron Age began in 1000 BC. The village farming community gradually dispersed in large part of India from Gangetic plains in the peninsular south. Discovery of iron gave the Aryans new implements like axes to clear the forest and cultivate the land. So, they could bring vast tracts of land under cultivation, the production of more rice, wheat, barley, vegetables, and fruits improved their standard of living. You can see the different tools, iron implements. Yes. And now we have, you can also see the occupation. This brought different kinds of occupation. Ironsmiths, goldsmiths, tool making, tanning, carpentry. So new occupation came up in this era. Pottery. Pottery has been found in Punjab, Haryana, Kurukshetra, Ludhiana, Jalandhar, because they belong to the same period and same region as mentioned in the Rig Veda. It is known as a painted grey ware. Painted grey ware, PGW. The PGW is a very fine, smooth and even colored pottery. You can see the picture here. Grey pottery. High quality clay with geometric patterns painted on it in black. Floral patterns and sun symbols are seen in some cases. Now we are concerned with the origin of the Aryans. I told you in the introduction, many historians believe something or other that Aryans are indigenous, that they have been born and brought up here. And some people believe that they have come from Iran because the book Zend-Avesta of Iran is mentioned in the Vedas. And Max Muller, the professor, as I told you in the introduction, his theory is very valid. That people are like people of Central Asia. And the Central Asian theory holds the origin of Romans, Celts, Indians, Greeks, and Persian from the same stock. And I told you about the language also. Similar language. Latin, patra, tuum. Patra means pita. Tuum, tum in Latin. So, there are evidences presented by Max Muller. Flora and fauna, objects referred in the Rig Veda were found in Asia Minor. Biologists noticed the genetic traits DNA of steppe people of Central Asia. Very much similar. So such are the evidences we can find that Aryans origin or they originated not in India but mostly maybe from Central Asia or in the deeper part in Europe, Germany, Italy, and so on. That's all.